Hey guys, and welcome to another brand new video. In this video, we actually have some pretty nifty and intriguing things to go and talk about over here where the internet has been somewhat taken up by storm. And this is now on the big opinion of what will PlayStation be doing next and what they should, in theory, be doing next as well. Now, as you guys do or do not know, Xbox did probably most likely go and get their Activision acquisition. There is still like the caveats mixed on in that in theory it may not go through or might have to be dissolved or whatever it might be, but mostly we could pretty much go and round up that it's pretty much good to go. Like I said, we still have to wait until the July 18th. That's like the big news day. But with that is kind of an awkward limbo where not many folks are sure what the future of the PlayStation, especially on the multiplayer side. Now, right now, that's kind of an intriguing thing because there is a few years for them to decide, and as well, there is at least a little bit of a contract buffer, and of course, a company like Sony and PlayStation does have a pretty big weight when it comes to money, when it comes to connections, when it comes to notoriety, user bases, and everything in between. So we're going to talk about some intriguing stuff right now throughout this video, so make sure you guys are subscribed with the notifications on. We have the Twitter and Twitch room down below if you guys want to follow. We also do have the link down below for the Samsung ongoing promotion that we keep on mentioning has for the $50 off if you guys want to check out your reservation down below. No commitment needed. We also have the Amazon links, and let's dive in the video itself. So I'm sure a lot of you folks, as you guys watch the intro, might be like, whoa. What is the one big game that's always been a big competitor when it comes to Call of Duty? Now, there have been a few other side ones too, such as maybe like Destiny or a few other games like a CSGO. There's like quite a few games out there as well on the BR side, like a Fortnite and Apex. But in all honesty, and for some odd reason, even though a lot of people play like a Fortnite or Apex or, even PlayerUnknown Battlegrounds, there's one very specific game that's always been the main Call of Duty competitor, and that is Battlefield. Now, a lot of folks right now are kind of on this really big push where it's stating, and we've been seeing this like kind of overall community reception a lot, the best thing PlayStation can do is to ban COD. We're not going to talk about that. We can talk about it for a second, but that's definitely not the play I'm not talking about. And create deals with Battlefield. Now, that's what we're talking about. Now that the COD veterans are in charge. Microsoft and ABK will lose billions, Sony will lose too, but they will take them back from Battlefield and EA FC deals. Now, that's a little bit of a hot take. But of course, it's Twitter, it's the internet, etc., so it makes sense on why some of these are quote-unquote hot takes. But I mainly want to focus more on the actual acquisition / partnership with Battlefield. So first and foremost, I think it's a win-win on either side if they keep Call of Duty on both PlayStation and Xbox. We are still in this awkward limbo, but we don't really know, mainly because a deal was never actually properly struck when it comes with Phil Spencer and Jim Ryan. Right now, Jim Ryan still we kind of talked about this in a separate video, was a little bit on the skeptical side, thinking that regulators are going to make sure everything's all good, that the deal itself won't go through. And so far, it seems like at least the merger itself between Activision and Xbox will be ongoing. But that also does mean that the Call of Duty's future is up in the air. We don't necessarily know if or when or what is going to happen, especially with the contract officially ending as of 2024. So that would mean, if anything, depending on when the contract ends, might be maybe a 2-year more deal, so maybe 2 more Call of Duty cycles. Right now, the big rumor is still on the Modern Warfare 3 for this year, although there was supposed to be a year being skipped, and then maybe next year, if there's another Call of Duty game as well, that may be on the PlayStation side. But as of right this second, we do not have anything confirmed for afterwards. There is no specific contract, and of course, although like Nvidia and the Switch, etc., all have maybe a 10-year deal, as of right this second, there is nothing super confirmed. Now, I still am on the assumption that Xbox would roll with it and they'd be fine with them, being like, yeah, we'll offer the same deal, good faith, whatever, let's keep working together. We're going to have to be together no matter what. We're always going to be competitors. Let's make it an easy ride instead of an awkward ride with your mom. So the next part for this one is that the Battlefield side. Battlefield is right now, although not the best community received, definitely a big point of interest. Even things like Christopher Dring over here, who I've always enjoyed a lot, says when the ABK deal concludes, I expect PlayStation to go all in with the Battlefield series. Kind of similar to other takes, and we saw these takes a lot on Twitter, on Reddit, and in my mind, it would make a lot of sense, which is currently undergoing an ambitious change in strategy under Vince Campella, the Call of Duty founder. That would be a good news for competition in the shooter genre. And they have a lot of folks saying, too, as well, as that not factoring in exclusivity, because, well, I do think Battlefield will end up, number one, it's an EA game. EA owns this stuff, and when it comes to the actual purchase price, because some people are kind of curious as well, I don't think Sony has the money to buy EA? I think in theory they do. Like if they really, really, really wanted EA, they could afford EA. They could get it. But it's one of those things where it's like, do you really want to be, it's like the house poor conundrum, where a lot of you guys know you don't necessarily want to be house poor, even if you could afford it. You want to be able to go on vacations. You want to be able to go and maybe invest in other side things, buy some stocks, buy a new car. So you don't want to necessarily be EA poor, if that makes sense. But as of right now, the market cap is around a $37 billion thing. So it is affordable. But right now, I think Sony's budget is around the $5 billion or so mark. Also, it's like a strategic partnership, which I do think a lot more folks are pushing through. There is no way Xbox will be able to go buy EA, especially after buying Activision. Without a doubt, regulators would not allow that type of level of acquisition. I could bet money on that one. That would not happen. It's too bad. That's like $110 billion worth of investments. It'd be a massive monopoly. Not worth it. But when it comes to this stuff, it's a very intriguing thing, because right now, PlayStation does have a lot of proper deals right now with Call of Duty. They have it properly with Activision. They have a contract in place for early exclusivity. They want to have those pre-orders with special tier characters. But right now, there isn't really any special deal with Battlefield. Now, I also agree, I do not think there will be a proper exclusivity when it comes to Battlefield itself. They make a lot of money on separate platforms, EA's own individual PC platform, etc. But at the same time, if Call of Duty is getting yoinked by Xbox, and through at least monopoly law, they may not have a chance to go and basically fine-tune it, it would make a lot of sense for them to kind of go and invest either more marketing and more stability servers or whatever it might be, playtesting, etc., PlayStation talent, to go make Battlefield maybe a better game. EA is an independent company, kind of how Activision also was at the time of their initial acquisitions, so it would also make a lot of sense too as well for them to just kind of sit there and be like, well, we could just go and, kind of work with you guys. We could have a proper partnership. And there's always a nice win-win, because that's why even Call of Duty was doing it. And it also would almost maybe swing the favor. There's always been a big 50-50 battle between Battlefield and Call of Duty. Even when I was growing up, it was all either like you play Call of Duty for fun, arcadey, or Battlefield if you want to feel like slightly more mature and go for a slightly more hardcore game. Now, as in more recent years, and especially Battlefield 2042, it did kind of push a little bit more on the arcadey style a bit more, which I was okay with, but it definitely is a different game, different style, and different everything else. So I do think that's one big thing to go and note, is that Battlefield is an open contender, and it is and used to be the #1 major game that people look to try to compete with Call of Duty. Now, another big thing to note is that the Call of Duty founder is trying to go and kind of revamp this up. So who else to go and try to beat Call of Duty than Call of Duty themselves, which I think is a very intriguing thing to know. Now, Battlefield 2042 did kind of flop, but I was one of those weird people that I did actually kind of really enjoy the game. And I know a lot of folks who also did enjoy the game itself. But one bigger issue is that it wasn't like, there's bugs, there's issues, like just the player support wasn't that good. They took away things that people liked. But I do kind of think if they kind of sat down and was like, hey, let's go and actually make this good with PlayStation. Let's try to go make something special and maybe even do things like early release, early access, or a very similar thing they already do for Call of Duty, and maybe just replace it with Battlefield. That actually might be a good filler and a band-aid for Call of Duty, especially if for some odd reason Call of Duty does not go and continue on PlayStation. I still think, on the opinion, it will, mainly because, well, it's just they make money. It's one of the biggest markets. Why would you take away tens of millions of folks as well? I mean, you still could, but I guess in theory, just put it on Game Pass, and if people really want to play Call of Duty for that $15 instead, then guess what? You can just go and do that, and they can still get an Xbox or PC, so it's not really taking anything away at the end of the day. So I kind of want to hear your thoughts quickly on this one, because it does kind of seem like Battlefield might be a really good response, and a lot of folks are kind of thinking the same way. I kind of want to know, I don't know, it makes sense. Like, just really obvious duh, but I want to hear your thoughts. And as well, kind of just a quick little nice little thing that the PlayStation actually was doing and selling like hotcakes still, which is why they still have this leverage, and why they use the leverage with EA and kind of push things like more Apex and Battlefield. That makes sense. But apparently it was the biggest games as well were performing best digitally. 82% of all the major new releases were bought digitally, and PlayStation was doing great. So right now, if you guys are curious, there was a huge, massive 43% increase over May, boosted by some retailer promotions on its God of War Ragnarok bundle, which has gone cheaper and has done well when it comes to sales. And on top of the two, apparently Diablo 4, great game, can't wait for seasonals. Street Fighter 6 and Final Fantasy 16 and F1 23 sales were mostly bolstered by the digital side, and as well was doing very good in the PlayStation Store, funny enough. So Blizzard's latest was the best selling of the lot, but Final Fantasy came in right behind that. There was still a bit of skepticism on the Final Fantasy 16 game itself, but it is still at least somewhat consistently selling, and of course Diablo once again will probably PS5 a huge big bolster when the new seasonal launches as of, I believe it's July 20th. So very fun to go and see, but it does seem like PlayStation itself is still selling like hotcakes, doing very well. There was a more recent Xbox promotion too with a price cut, so we'll see if that also helps out their sales on top of that. And as well, just make sure you guys are subscribed with the notifications on. We have the Twitter and Twitch stream down below if you guys want to follow, and keep on checking out the Samsung link down below if you guys want to go save $50 on a nice little reservation if you guys would like. And of course, as well, I appreciate you guys all so much for watching here in the first place.